Well, now we're dealing with relations. We have equations here, and we're talking about the relations between x and y. And to find the x and y intercepts, what you do is, and you've done this before, I'm sure, you let x be 0, and you find y, the y-intercept. And then you let y be 0, and you find x, the x-intercept, whatever that happens to be. So we're going to do this in the course of graphing these three functions. So we have y equals x squared. So this is a y equals x squared plus 1. If we let x be 0, what we get is y equals 1. So that's the y-intercept for this thing. So, and we'll label this 0, 1. And now this is a parabola, and I'm going to ask you to always just memorize what a parabola looks like. What if I was going to graph y equals x squared? Well, here's what it looks like. Y-intercept is 0, and so when we graph this, we're just going to lift this thing up 1, and there. X and y, and that's the graph of y equals x squared plus 1. See? Well, now we're going to graph y equals x cubed minus x. And the first thing we're going to do, we're going to factor that, because it factors. And so we can factor an x out, and we get x squared minus 1. And now this factors, that's a difference of 2 squares, so we get x times x minus 1 times x plus 1. So let's deal with the x and y intercepts. So if we let x be 0, well, 0 times all this stuff, and by the way, that should be a 1 there, not a y, 1. Anyhow, what we get is 0. If we let x be 1, y will be 0, because this thing will 0 out. If we let x be negative 1, that'll 0 out, and y will be 0. So, now let's graph it. And we've got a y-intercept at 1, so or an x-intercept at 1, a y-intercept and x-intercept at 0, 0. And here we are, another x-intercept at negative 1. And since the leading term is positive, in other words, the term with the largest exponent on the variable is positive, the right-end behavior will be up. And it's going to go through here and then backtrack, go through here, backtrack, and down she goes. Anytime it's an odd degree, then the ends will go in opposite directions. Now, we're not too concerned about the vertical values, we just want the general shape, and we've done it. Now let's graph this linear function. That's 3x minus y equals 7, and we'll find the x and y intercepts. So to find the y-intercept, what we do is we let x equal 0 and solve for y. And if x is 0, this term disappears, and we get minus y equals 7. Solving for y, we get y equals negative 7. Now letting y be 0, that'll give us the x-intercept. And so letting y be 0, we get 3x equals 7, or dividing through by 3x equals 7/3. So 7/3. Now let's graph that. and the y-intercept, and we'll label this graph, y-intercept's at 0, -7, and the x-intercept is up here at 7/3, 0, and we labeled these two intercepts, and now we'll draw a line through, and that's our graph, and we're done.